Side, and I'm now joined by Richard. Now moving on, looking at it, Paul Finney's side that we had also Injera coming back. We have a newbie also who's debuting into this, Jeffrey. What do you make of the squad that Paul Finney took into Hamilton?
I think the blend of what they have for the squad, it's incredible.
All right.
It gives us a future. There's proper leadership. Then also we have talent that we're grooming into the program. And Finney coming from probably the best setup we could ever have around, gives a great platform to grow the team. And I believe probably after a leg or two, we have a stable team and constant feeder to the team. And that's what we need to get to where we want. Yeah.
Okay, looking at it, I know you may not have followed into the match because the timings are also not good. But then at 2 p.m., just the technicalities, what do you think could be our undoing into this? We started off well.
Able to be competitive.
A try for try against Japan. We went on the lead, but then they recovered, coming back twice for a draw.
I think it's more about just a basic. Right now, it's more of the technical errors you make and how I capitalize on them. I think most teams are now working on capitalizing on the technical errors you make.
All right.
When it comes to the conditioning aspect and other technical bits, I think the Shujaa is doing pretty well as compared to what we had. Paul Finney is doing very good with the side.
All right.
All we need is just consistency.
All right, consistency, and as we get those pictures also on air, we will be having South Africa in our last Pool B match. What do you make of that as we conclude our chat of Hamilton?
Tight game, but they can win. Kenya can win because they won against South Africa before. So it won't be, of course, always a tight game because they are the only superpowers for rugby in Africa. So it's always a game that inspires a lot of passion and pressure.
Whenever South Africa and Kenya meet, it's always a tough duel.
It's basically, you basically tell yourself who's going to be the next big thing. So against South Africa, it's guns blazing, nothing else. I think they're going to give it all.
You foresee a victory for Kenya?
I foresee a victory always. I'm a Kenyan.
Richie?
What do you expect?
All right, away from Hamilton, hopefully Kenya will reckon their first victory. And the format was changed this time round. The top teams are the ones who qualify for the playoffs.
Apparently.
And then you see that's a better format so far.
I don't know. There's a revolt from the players and the coaches that it's going to deny them opportunities to get a shot at going for the podium finish. But then again, I think we're just trying to rebrand the tournament format just because of demand, because now they've included the ladies category into it, and because of the timing and all that, and so one weekend has to go that way. All
right. Fine. Away from that, we hope that they reckon their first victory and at least something to celebrate for Paul Finney's side later at 2 a.m. That is at 2:13 a.m. on Sunday morning, later this night. All right, we have the Rugby League, something competitive to that, away from the Rugby 7th and Rugby 15th Rugby League. You're the founders of Rugby League, and it was brought in 2013, I suppose, by Rombo. Perhaps just give us a brief of what Rugby League in Kenya is.
Rugby League has always existed in Kenya for many years, beginning, I believe, from 1991.
Okay.
When Rombo became the first Kenyan to play professional rugby league in the UK. And ever since then, the game has always existed, but mostly in clubs. They use it for training, but never for performance. And for us, it became more like an intellectual pursuit that we want to pride ourselves as a country that has both codes, union and league. So then in 2014, we started the journey to form Kenya Rugby League Federation. And now finally, we activating everything after finalizing our registration in November last year.
So O'Neill, just give us a technical bit or technical side of what Rugby League is.
So basically, for me, my side, in terms of high performance, we want a proper structure where we have high performance programs that are running across the country. From the onset, we want it at age grade. When we start there with that 5-year-old, that 4-year-old, we want proper structures. We want to have elite performance coaches at that level so that as we filter in probably in an 8-year cycle, we have competent players, the ones that can participate at top levels and get them. Currently, even as we are speaking, we have players right now that are practicing for Rugby League in Australia. It's a team coming up that will combine with other that we are developing right now in Kenya. So have a team in an Australian league, have a proper athlete development pathway for them, and also expose them to high performance, so that if we are able to take them to the series, we're soon having a nine series, just like we have it in Kenya Rugby Union. We want to be able to do that consistently. And that for me is key thing for rugby league as we're going into the future.
And how different is it from the Kenya Sevens and the Kenya 15s? Just in terms of the number of players, just how different is it?
So basically, why I love rugby league a lot is in terms of resources that you need to get inbuilt. They've cut down so much into the rugby league. It's more fun. There's continuity of the game, and there's also the aspect of fitness. It covers all areas. When you look at fans, there's an issue of the fan, there's an issue of the players. Then technically, I think in terms of development, we are actually targeting to, as we are rooting to have it started now, but we also want to work with the schools down there, get them into franchises. From the franchises, get the top franchises selected into our teams that we intend to have them in Australia, England. We want to have them play at that top league. And that, I think, will bring that high performance level to a whole next level. You know, high performance international standard might not be Kenyan standard. We want to play that international standard. All
right. So how, Richard, how will this now be in terms of you convincing the players that we have down here, the youngsters coming up from Chipo as well, to join rugby?
We're not convincing anyone. They're knocking on the doors.
To do a lot. So probably when we have a pool of players coming on board, we tend to educate them at all departments, from event management, from actual playing, from refereeing the game, match officiation. We want to get them at top notch. So key thing is that we want proper graduation, that if they don't turn out to be athletes, they turn out to give to the sport at very top level. So probably if you develop a coach from the age of 10 years gradually, you see you're actually developing a proper technical guy. Same to a referee. So that by the time he hits 19, we have an elite referee that can actually ref an African or a nationwide game. Yes.
And now moving forward, perhaps you're registered as Rugby League?
Yes, we did. We registered as the Rugby League Federation in November last year. Currently, we're setting up all the structures. We have an interim board in place. We're setting up the clubs. We held our workshop